Hi everybody, I hope you're doing well. So today I have my Christmas 2024 locomotive that my wife has bought me very kindly, and I had a real trouble getting a hold of a Christmas locomotive this year. I originally thought it was going to be an Acura scale P class, but then they got delayed, and then I thought it was going to be a Daypol Class 22 or a Class 29, and none of that came through for me. And this was a model by Rapido that I think I saw a review of it when it was at its tooling or decoration stage a number of months ago now, and I wasn't very sure when it was going to be released. And because it was Rapido, I don't have any Rapido items, and they're quite a new sort of model making company as far as I'm concerned. I'm not too aware of their range. I know that they're quite prolific in their releases, but anytime I had ever seen a sort of review of a Rapido item, the quality was not as good as it could be. But when this came out just recently, I just happened to see one of the early reviews of it, and I was like blown away. And I thought, well, being a Scot, and I knew of the Jones Goods locomotive. I'd seen pictures of it, so I certainly knew of it. But certainly the early reviews I've seen, this was something that I didn't want to miss out on. So I got one of the very last ones around in this colour scheme. I think there's about 4 or 5 different colour options, but this is the one that I wanted really. So let's have a look. So the box is just fantastic. I've never seen a box like this before that actually has like the like the number plate, if you like, of the locomotive on it. It's very good, and it's the history of this is I think it's the first 460 wheel type locomotive in Britain. I haven't read this yet, but that's certainly from memory. So let's open it up. Okay, let's have a quick look at the end of the box actually. So it's a Jones Goods HR Yellow 1960s condition, number 103. And that bit sound fitted's been blanked out because I know this one isn't sound fitted. Okay, so you've got the owner's manual. There's history in here as well. Bit about running in. How to fit a DCC decoder, which is in the tender. Tender removal, servicing. Okay. DCC functions, warranty. Okay, optional parts, an exploded diagram. Wow, that's quite a lot of parts, and you could check online to get a better view, because these numbers on here. It's very difficult to read. All right, there's a picture of the locomotive taken in 1962. Very nice. Okay. Aha. Here she is. It's funny, with it being a 462, you'd think it would be physically bigger, but because this is going back to I don't know, 1910, 1920, you know, locomotive sizes were smaller then. All right, let's try and remove this. Comes out in one section. Okay, extra parts. Yeah, we've got the screw link couplings. Oh, there's some etched engraved plates in here. Okay, so let's start taking this apart. Okay, let's put this carefully to one side. Right, let's just increase the lighting a little bit here. Wow, yeah, the coal load just sits on the top. Wow, the decoration on there is just incredible. Wow, there's so many different colours used. Wow, I'm going to need the HD camera to see some of the details on this. Wow, that is really, what a decoration. My goodness. The detail on here. It's got small factory fitted parts for the tools, etc. See, I guess you need to be a little bit careful when you're handling this. It's got the vacuum pipe on the rear. Yes, NEM couplings. This is the connection socket. So, well, yeah, I'm highly impressed with that. That's one of the most decorated tenders I've ever seen. Wow. Okay. I'm just being super careful with this because I know it is quite a detailed model. Let's have a wee look. Wow. That is beautiful. I'm so glad I got this this colour scheme. It's very different. I don't think I've got anything else this colour. Wow. Look at the decoration in the cab. Wow, look at that. I'll try and take some still images of that later so you can see it. That's probably the best decoration in a cab I've ever seen. Wow, there is so much to see on this model, my goodness. I'm trying to hold it by the running plate. Let's have a look at the front. There's the HR 103. Yeah, the handrails appear to be metal. I think that's die cast. Wow, just what a fantastic model, my goodness. I mean, I know I've seen a review already of this, but this just, wow. This is, I think for a single model, this is probably the most I've ever paid for a locomotive. Now, the best price you can get it for at the moment, and this includes all the different liveries, is 186 about. I paid about 195 from a retailer I don't normally use, but they did a fine job in getting it to me, and it was one of the last ones they had in stock. I think at the time I'm making this video, I don't believe you can get this model anymore. If you know where it's still available, drop it in the comments for others to see, but I don't think it's available anymore. The usual retailers that I use were completely out, and it took a bit of searching for me to find this model, and I'm glad I did, and I'm glad I pulled the trigger on it. So let me try and fit the coupling between the tender and the locomotive. Okay, so before I take this fantastic, stunning locomotive to the track, I'm going to show you how I fitted the power connection. It tells you in the instruction that you put them on straight and level track and bring them together, but I don't believe that's a good idea. Now, I did use a magnifying glass to see exactly what I was doing. However, let's put that to the side. This was the way I did it. So if you are having a bit of problems getting them together, this was the way I did it. I turned it upside down. Let me just move the coat out actually. I turned them upside down and held my finger on the rear socket and then pushed them together. So basically held that socket in position so it wouldn't push back, and it fitted quite easily. But I think most people would agree with me that it's probably a good idea just to keep this together while running it or putting it to one side, and not coupling and uncoupling continually, because it will wear, I think, on the pen's socket connection. Alright, so let me give you a bit of history and I'll take it over to the track. Highland Railway Jones Goods number 103 is a Scottish legend for being the first locomotive in the UK to have a 460 wheel arrangement. Built in 1894 as part of a batch of 15 by Sharp Stewart of Glasgow, number 103 worked the whole of its life in Scotland. In 1934, the locomotive, by then LMS, was set aside for preservation, becoming the sole surviving Highland Railway locomotive. In 1958, British Rail's Scottish Regional General Manager James Ness ordered it to be returned to service, alongside other classic Scottish locomotives. Number 103 ran numerous rail tours around the Scottish region. In 1965, Highland Railway's 103 was retired and is now on show at Glasgow's Riverside Museum. Okay, so we have the Jones Goods now on the track, and I decided to run it in just for two reasons actually. First was just for the sheer enjoyment of having this quick preview of my Christmas model going round. So this was me having my Christmas day early, I suppose. And also she's got quite a controlled skill speed. And I felt that it would be better to run her in fully before I started reviewing it. So that's where we are. So the initial start, she started perfectly. She never missed a beat. So let's have a look. I'll show you her now. I've got her on half speed. And off she goes. That's 50%. So you can see what I mean about the skill speed. So at 50% half speed, half power, you can see that the scale speed is, what I would say is quite realistic. Like I say, during the running in, apart from my power connector loosening on the track, which basically prematurely stopped the local, but that was the power connector, not the local. Well, the local, as I say, never missed a beat. As you can see, there's a firebox flicker. Hopefully you saw that as she was going round. But yeah, this is the dilemma I've had. Let me bring her around. I'll stop right here. I love the flywheel on this, by the way. The brake rigging, another thing I need to tell you, all the brake rigging is actually fitted, factory fitted. So underneath the locomotive, it's got all the rigging there. I think detaching all that when it comes to removing the base keeper plate and stuff like that could be problematic, but aside from that, I have no complaints. The dilemma I've had with this locomotive is actually its perfection level. It's incredibly good, and I've been looking to see, you know, that there is one thing, only one thing actually, that I have a tiny issue with, which is the dome on the top of the boiler and where the safety valves are. There's two plastic areas that are made of plastic, and the plastic is a very slight different shade of yellow or orange yellow. It's do you know what? It's such a minor criticism because the lining on it is incredible. The colors, there's no color bleed, there's no glue marks. If the dome and the safety valve area, that plastic pieces, were color matched to the boiler, this would be the most perfect locomotive I have seen or own. But it's just a slight difference in the shade, color appearance. And you know what? Possibly under different lighting conditions, you might not notice it. Like, for example, if I show you here, this area here, this plastic piece, I don't really notice it so much, but I do notice the dome more, being a slightly different shade. But like I say, the decoration on the wheels, the axle boxes, just what an amazing job they've done with the decoration of this model. And I keep saying to myself, well, I shouldn't really mark it down for the dome, because that's one thing, you know, okay, it's two parts, but it's one thing that is slightly off color. But should I mark it down for that? And I know there's a tiny little gap where these parts have been fitted, but for me it's not really noticeable. The thing that draws my eye is the color appearance. But again, I feel like I'm being pernickety that is the only thing. The performance of this model is amazing. The flywheel, the torque, it's, as I say, it's as close to perfection as you could get. And I have to say, Rapido, well done with this model. I think they've probably came leaps and bounds forward with their quality. It's just a pity about the dome. I know I keep talking about it, but if they had nailed that, this would have been the most perfect locomotive I've ever seen. And I'll tell you what, that's high praise. So is it worth the RRP or what I paid for it? I definitely think so. I definitely think so. Okay, so I've got the Jones Goods connected up with a couple of old British Rail blood and custard type coaches, which would have been probably period typical in the early 1960s. So just on half power, off she goes. You can see the flywheel kicking in there as well at the start. So yeah, it's been a dilemma trying to score this locomotive because she's so close to perfection. Just absolutely stunning model. This is my first Rapido Trains model, and as I say, I've seen some of the previous releases reviewed, and there was always the odd sort of quality flaw, let's just say. So it never pushed Rapido to the forefront of my mind. But the historical context of this model, and having seen a review fairly recently, and I just like, well, I'm not going to pass up on this because Rapido may not do a second run in this colour scheme. Yeah, very, very pleased with it. Do you know, I'm actually thinking as well, you know, maybe I should get a colour matched paint and just paint that dome. It's probably not a great idea, knowing my painting about this, but I just, you know, if I thought I could do a perfect paint job on it, I would definitely do it. Because it's the only thing about the model that it takes it away from being absolutely perfect. Well, I'm just so enjoying watching this going round. Absolutely stunning locomotive. And the flywheel just drags her to a stop. So I'm going to put the scores up on the board. So yeah, it's I love this model. I love this model. One of the other things I was going to be doing this year was to do a top 5 of the locomotives that I've purchased this year, the new ones. I've bought quite a few second hand, which might be a separate top 5, but for the new models, It just seems ironic that one of the last models of the year that I'm reviewing might end up being number one. And you think, well, you know, you're being influenced by it's the last new toy that you're reviewing. But I just think it's going to be so difficult for other models that I've bought this year to overtake this one. It's, as I say, it's got one flaw, color appearance on the dome. Apart from that, it is absolutely perfect. One other thing to point out is the firebox flicker in DC mode, old school DC. I don't think there's a flicker, but in DCC, I think it flickers. I think that's my understanding of that. And I'm only running this on old school DC at the moment. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this episode and review of RAPIDO Trains Jones Goods. For my Christmas model, I'm absolutely delighted. I think my wife will want me to have it wrapped, so this might be the last running until Christmas Day. But anyway, I don't mind that. I'm very, very pleased that I pulled the trigger, got this model, and yeah, RAPIDO certainly did not let me down with this model. It is absolutely excellent. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next time.